YouTube, man, what's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to another CEO video, man. Welcome back to another creatively optimistic video. Don't be judging over here. We just creatively optimistic, man. We just CEO. All right? We just CEO with it. This is my CEO Shadow, man. Shadow nigga, bro. Say what's up, bro. What's up with y'all, man? What's good with y'all? Hey, sometimes he be speaking, sometimes he don't. Sometimes he just be reacting to the video with us, bro. It's all up to him, bro. But listen. You already know we got part 3 on the way. Without further ado, let's get into the video, man. Bible exposed, man.
Church
Satanist,
called
Satanist.
Satanists. What do you think about them?
I don't like it. I mean, it's all about frequencies. Yeah, and people say, well, you don't believe in God. You're a atheist. No, I'm not an atheist. I believe there's a God. I believe there's a God. I talk about it in my book, Fractal Holographic Universe, because the evidence, the circumstantial evidence of a creator is all around us, even inside this microphone.
Who do you think it is?
It's not a who, it's a frequency. I believe that God is a frequency. We have to tune into that frequency. We understand a couple things through metaphysics.
That makes a lot of sense.
There's a universal consciousness, and there's only one consciousness. You and I appear to be separate and divided apart, but we're not. We're still only one. Ancient Mayan saying, "In lakek alakin," I am just another you.
Where you go to get to speaking different languages, this nigga knows something.
And so there's a radio station broadcasting out frequencies from the universal mind, and it's broken up into point number. I'm 99.1, you're 99.2, he's 99.3. Your avatar body is designed to encapsulate a point number of that frequency for a temporal amount of time.
Try to debunk it. What's your comeback to this statement? We have to go do the research and verify. I did the research on the Enlil thing in Jesus, and it turns out Jesus it translates to Enlil. I don't know, man.
You're able to encapsulate that frequency of consciousness. So, but it's all coming from one source. It's a frequency. God is a frequency.
Interesting you say that. So I got Nikola Tesla once said the following. He said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yeah.
What do you think he meant by this?
Oh, man, that's powerful. Powerful statement. It's one of the brightest minds in the universe. What he's saying is that when you think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, you're now tapping into the essence of the nature of reality. That this reality that we're living in,
You got the Fiji water, nigga. Supreme.
is an illusion. We have the illusion of solidity. Everything is really a frequency.
And look, Nikola Tesla is quoting saying, if you want to find secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy and frequency and vibration.
Everything is made of light, and light is also a frequency, right? So this microphone in front of me looks like a solid object. As a matter of fact, it looks like I'm actually touching it, but I never actually touched this mic. What happens is this mic is made up of a wave of potentials. They're in superposition of each other, okay? And when I look down at this mic, my consciousness collapses those waves into the illusion of solidity. It's light waves slowed down. My brain has a capability, and your brain has a capability of creating a collapsing frequency wave that collapses this into what appears to be a solid object. When I touch it, I don't even touch it. You never touch anything. The electromagnetic frequency of the electrons orbiting the atoms in your fingers are repelling the electrons orbiting the atoms in the microphone. Okay? So you don't even touch anything. That's electromagnetic repulsion. This whole world, this whole realm, just like the ancients say, is a dream world, sleepy time. This is an illusion. And what Nikola Tesla is saying, when we begin to understand the nature of reality,
Sleepy time, fool. What happens when we wake up out of it, though?
is frequency and vibration. And through different frequencies and vibrations, you can create a realm known as our universe.
Who do you think he was? You think he was an alien? You think he was a regular guy? You think, what did he have access to that, made him come up with so many different inventions that eventually JP Morgan first is funding him? Then he's realizing, wait a minute, this guy's going to put all the oil industry out of business, my biggest customers. Let me stop funding the guy, and then he goes out of business. Who do you think Nikola Tesla was?
I think he was an incredible human being. I don't have any research material to give me anything other than he was a human being, right? And we know he had a mother because he left a note to his mother right when he died.
That nigga's not human. You see the way that nigga, you see the way he built? You're not human.
About the fact that he felt like, he had been pretty much abused his whole life. But he had a strange ability to do thought experiments.
He's not human,
All right,
brother.
honey, after your first swim,
And to understand the nature of reality is frequency and vibration, and through different frequencies and vibrations, you can create a realm known as our universe.
Who do you think he was? You think he was an alien? You think he was a regular guy? You think, what did he have access to that, made him come up with so many different
that question
inventions
twice.
that eventually JP Morgan first
Is he an alien?
him. Then he's realizing, wait a minute, this guy's going to put all the oil industry out of business. My biggest customers, let me stop funding the guy. And then he goes out of business. Who do you think Nikola Tesla was?
I think he was an incredible human being. I don't have any research material to give me anything other than he was a human being, right? And we know he had a mother because he left a note to his mother right when he died about the fact that he felt like, he had been pretty much abused his whole life. But he had a strange ability to do thought experiments. Thought experiments are incredible things, something that I experiment with myself. But he takes these thought experiments and he creates these inventions in his mind. He saved a lot of money on engineering and production because he would create these things in his mind. He would see the process in his mind. He would even turn them on and see if they worked. And if they didn't work, he would know. So he'd only create things that actually worked. But he was doing it all within his consciousness. So he had tapped into a higher level. This man was on another level altogether. He was a high thinker, probably one of the highest functioning savants this world has ever seen.
Who else would you put at his level?
Well, beneath him would be Albert Einstein. I mean, he, again, did thought experiments, Plato. There's just so many great
Beneath
minds out
him.
there.
So you have him at the top.
Yeah, I have him at the top.
You have him at the top.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the story with John G. Trump and what happened with him? Have you heard that story?
No.
Okay, let me read this to you. I'm curious to know what you'll say about this. So January 9th, 1941, 2 days after he dies, Fred Trump, which is Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump's brother, John G. Trump, the FBI calls him to determine if any of the belonging in Tesla's estate would be dangerous if found in enemy's hands. After 3 days of investigation, his brother says there's no risk. And then still, they took boxes and boxes of stuff that he had. And, where they kept it to themselves. And some of the stuff we may know about, some of the stuff we don't know about. And this leads to a documentary recently that came out by Stephen Greer. I don't know if you saw that or not. The Last Century or
The Lost
Century.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, it's great. If you've seen, okay. So the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951 that has roughly 6,000 patents that are in there, kept from us where they have a structure. I may, butcher some of the numbers that they'll pay you 75% of what the patent they think is worth. But if you ever sell it or use it, you'll go to jail, felony, all that stuff. How much access to technology and information do you think the government has? Or maybe something above even the government that none of us even know about that maybe Nikola came up with or somebody else came up with?
Yeah. Well, they have a lot of Nikola Tesla's inventions already done, produced, and tested. We know that he came up with the scalar weapon, and they already used the scalar weapon. We actually integrated that into different radar systems. As a matter of fact, the thing that brought down the UFO, the famous UFO from 1947 in New Mexico, right, the Roswell incident, that was a scalar beam that came from the United States military, most likely engineered or reverse engineered from Nikola Tesla's documents. They discovered that scalar weapon, it wasn't really used as a weapon at first. It was a radar system. They discovered that it disoriented these craft and brought them down. In some weird way, it disoriented their ships. I believe that's how we began to figure out how to bring these things down, capture them, and reverse engineer them. I think that
if he had the ability to make this stuff, that means Nikola Tesla was assassinated, nigga. You can't own this type of knowledge and just walk the earth.
government has a lot of technology that they've been holding back from the general population for several reasons. One reason is for national security and global security. I can agree with that 1,000%, because there's a lot of people out here that if they got their hands on some of this technology would try to utilize it to take over the world. I mean, that's just a known fact because it's the nature of mankind. The next thing is also monetary capitalization. How do you take this technology They want to, of course, weaponize it, make money there. Then they want to break it down for civilian use and then capitalize on it there as well. So you have the combination between the two. Monetizing in military is weaponization, and then monetizing and capitalization in the civilian area. And then the third thing is drawing out technologies as long as you possibly can. Keep lying about peak oil. Keep lying about resources and running out, and we're getting droughts, and there's no more ways.
We're not running out of resources, people. If you think we're running out of resources, I'm gonna ask for help for you, bro. We live in an abundant world, brother. Remember that.
There's no more coal, and they make up these lies, and then, so we got more coal. Oh, we found more resources. But just drawing it out as long as we can. Now they come with the electric car, right? The electric car is more detrimental than the combustion engine. So now they're going to move away from the electric car, and they're going to move into hydrogen, because that's really much better. But they're going to go to a hydrogen fuel cell, a solid state hydrogen, instead of going straight hydrogen. So this is all about drabbing down technology over time to capitalize over hundreds of years. Some of their plans.
This makes so much sense, bro. Tell me it doesn't.
400 and 500 years in advance. Their business models and their business plans go out for 400 or 500 years. The average business person plans 3, 5, 10, but they're planning for hundreds of years in advance.
I understood number one, which number one was, there's a good purpose to it, right? We got to protect, because a lot of these technologies in the wrong person's hands, they can destroy the world. Yeah. Maybe even bigger than a nuclear bomb.
Right.
Who knows what these 6,000 patents that they are. Number two is, the idea of that, when you read it, it says the Invention Secrecy Act requires the government to impose secrecy orders on certain patent applications that contain sensitive information, thereby.
Look at this dude, bro. He's not normal.
Restricting disclosure of the invention, withholding the patent. And then if you read it even closer, it explains the fact that even if the law is designed to prevent disclosure of new inventions and technologies that, in the opinion of selected federal agencies, in the opinion, not accuracy, but just purely opinion, present an alleged threat to the economic stability and national security of the United States. So national security was your point number one.
Yeah.
Economic stability, we cannot drive a car with water 200 miles per gallon. Wait a minute, that's going to destroy the oil industry.
Exactly.
That's a $5 trillion industry. We can't do something like that.
Right.
So $500 billion industry, we can't do something like that. Mm-hmm. I get that part. $5 trillion industry. But Rob, can you see what oil industries? I think it's $5 trillion. If you can check that up, I think it's $5 trillion. But the third one, unpack the third one a little bit more, because I think I understood what you said, but can you unpack it for me, please?
Yeah. What was the third one I said again? There was the.
You said the first one was the risk of the wrong person getting their hands on it. Number two was capitalization. Right. And then number three, you were talking about, that they're drawing it out and delaying it. They're not wanting us to know.
Right. Well, you draw it out.
Almost like gaslighting us a little bit.
It's like, how Apple has like all these pieces now? When you buy a laptop or a phone, you got to get this charger. Then you got to get the tip of the charger. You got to make sure the charger is right letter, USB. Like, that's basically what they're doing over time. They're giving us little pieces of the whole thing instead of the computer.
The reason why you draw it out is because you can extend your ability to monetize. Right. So, for example, the cell phone came out during the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get that until 1992, I think it was. We called it the bowling pin, but it was available, a long time before then. And so I think they have the ability to draw things out extensively to just give us small amounts of advanced technology, so that we as a civilization, the general population, advances much slower than they advance. Giving them the ability to always be 10 steps ahead of us technologically. If they give us
10 steps ahead, god damn,
they create technology that they dole out to us almost instantly or not too far behind.
Hey, you said 10 steps behind, bro. They not even playing by the streets no more, nigga. They not even 2-3 steps ahead, nigga. They 10. They not even playing by the street code.
Catch up to them. And if we catch up to them, then we become a threat. We cannot become a threat by any means necessary. So they keep us with technologies that are far, far behind what they have. I mean, they still have Elon Musk launching, chemical rockets.
What's your point?
I don't think chemical rock. I think that's old fashioned. I think that's really old technology, super ancient technology.
So you think even Elon Musk is old school?
I think it's now he's done a great job with his, launching and landing the same rockets. But I think, you're using you're using controlled explosions in the 21st century. I think there's a lot better technology out there.
You think he's aware of that?
He's probably aware of it, but he's probably doing the best he can.
Got it. So let me.
I don't think they're going to give him the anti-gravity or allow him to use it because of that act you just read.
Yeah, but Rob, I just looked at it. It says $5.3
It's like Pat don't look like he buying what he's saying right now.
trillion in 23. I see here the market size, but that's the number I see. You see 1.8, somewhere between those two. Yeah. But industry revenue has increased to a CAGR of 9.6% to $5.3 trillion over the 5 years to 2023. So technology that he doesn't have access to because he's using the old method of, so let's go back a little bit on this, right? The whole Nikola Tesla technology software, all these things that they have. When you ask the average person, if you become a president, what's the first thing you'd want to know? Most people say, John F. Kennedy assassination, who did it? Or they'll say, aliens, do they exist, right? I want to know what are some of the patents and inventions that they have in this Invention Secrecy Act. Do you think people who become presidents even get the real access to these information? Or do you think it's even kept away from them because
they can't have it? There's no way.
They're a
if you look at how they operate, look at what they do, look at what we don't know what they do behind closed doors, but there's no way they know about the Emerald tablets. The higher ups, but higher than them. Because Donald Trump would leak it. Look how he act.
The type of person they go and they could potentially leak it to others.
Yeah.
Do you think they get that information?
Two reasons. One reason you just named, because they can leak it out. They're just a temporary puppet. And then the second reason is plausible deniability. So they don't give them any information. Presidents have no real power. If we didn't learn that during COVID, then we didn't learn anything. President says, shut down this and do that. And the governor of Florida, said no. DeSantis said, no, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. So DeSantis had more power than the president. The president says, no, don't do this, do that, do this, do that. He said, no, we're going to do this and do that. We do whatever we want to do. We're going to do whatever we want.
Well, that's because it's set up in a way where states get to govern, like California did a full-on shutdown. New York did, maybe Illinois did.
Hey, Pat, I'm the one that did the research, brother. It's like, no, we're open.
Florida, Texas, Tennessee were a little bit more, no, we believe in people staying open. We're going to leave businesses open. But that's more a little bit about governing, right? This is more access to information that do we trust telling? You think Donald Trump knows exactly who killed John F. Kennedy? You think Donald Trump knows when he became a president what those 6,000 patents are? If he had interest, you think they would give it to him? You think Donald Trump, just recently, Rob, if you can play this clip from Donald Trump on Logan Paul. I don't know if you saw this or not.
No.
So he's on Logan Paul, and Logan asks him a question about aliens, and here's what he says. Go for it, Rob.
There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
I have met with people that are serious people, pilots that look just like you, actually. Tom Cruise, but taller. These are perfect people that say, sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster, and they really mean it. Am I a believer? No.
There are unidentified.
So he doesn't believe it, right? Do you think he's saying he doesn't believe it to show that he can keep the information? Do you think he says he doesn't believe it because they never really showed him what they had at Area 51? What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
I possibly think he's just, showing that, hey, I can play ball. If I'm given secrets, I can hold them.
You think that's the play?
Oh, absolutely.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good positioning to process it because they want to know you can trust me with information. I'm not going to leak it with others, right?
Right.
All right. So
Donald Trump can't hold water to save his grandmother if she was alive.
This is stuff that you're very curious about. I'm curious to know what you're going to say about this. If you were to become president, okay, or if you could know anything about the information that, say, is available out there to you, that even yourself earlier you said, I'm probably not right about everything I'm saying. I could be wrong about a lot of things I'm saying or some of the things that I'm saying, but I'm pretty confident in my beliefs, right? But if you could know anything that you became president or somebody of that level of power where it's 100% confirmation, what would you want to know and why?
I'd want to know the access to zero-point energy. I'd want to know what technologies have been suppressed that give us access to wireless energy, zero-point energy, perpetual motion devices, or anything else that can generate electricity that takes us off the teat of the electric companies. Because I think that one of the biggest things we need in this world is to bring everyone up to speed and to create a real utopia on this planet is everyone needs to have electricity. It doesn't have to be completely free, but it should be significantly reduced. The price should be significantly reduced, and people should have access to power all over the world.
0 point is the lowest possible energy that a quantum mechanical system may have.
So you're part of the Secrecy Act of 1951 because you think that's you think we have access to that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been many inventions that have come forward. I mean, I even saw some I've been in some of Dr. Creer's documentaries on Amazon Prime.
I've seen, yeah.
And I mean, there's technologies that we visited different laboratories where they've actually had these devices. The problem that people go out and try to patent this technology, and once you try to patent it, it's over. What you have to do is you have to create open source. I have a tech company called First Class Space. And one of the things, we launched it right
Nigga, what do you sell, nigga? Portals?
Or COVID, but then obviously that slowed things down. But the thing that we're doing when we go back live again is we're going to get our engineers and our physicists together, and we're going to create an open source forum, and we're not going to try to patent anything. We're going to put information out for the world so that people get a chance to try to recreate some of these technologies.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch the
This nigga finna sell your ass a goddamn ray gun.
documentary, that's what he recommends to the guy, right? What is the guy's name that he's calling him? He says, look, here's what's the right way to do it with this invention that you have. Make it open source. And he says, no, I don't want to make it open source. I don't know what the guy's name was. Thomas Moray. I don't know if that was the guy he spoke to or not, but it was one of the guys. He said, why don't you make it open source? No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
We got to keep it. This is my baby. And he says, no, this is not your baby. You got to let this out to everybody else. Is this where you think Musk, to him, everything is about open source? You want the software, what we're doing Tesla? Here. You want to know what we're doing with this? Here. Yeah. Even when he invested originally in the nonprofit Open AI, his goal was, I think he said he put $50 million of his own money, give or take. And he's feeling like now it's no longer being Open AI. He's like, wait a minute, if you're doing this, I'm going to start my own Apple iPhone. Do you think that's where his position is with OpenAI?
Yeah, because I got to give it to him. He was smart. He created industries by doing open source. You want to create an electric car industry? Well, you got to open source it so that you can create the industry for it because everybody can get a copy of the battery. Everybody can make a battery. Now you got competition. Without competition, you don't have an industry. So he did a very brilliant thing doing that. I got to give it to him on that. And understanding that that is the mentality that it takes to expand and spread technology, information, resources, and software around the planet in a way that can be utilized and great for entrepreneurs especially. You have to open source things. And so once you close it off and try to hold it near and dear to your heart, the only thing you do is end up getting either taken out or getting your invention or your software taken away, getting it eminent domain and suppressed. But you make it open source. I mean, everybody has it now, and everybody can do something with it. Now you have a whole industry.
That's why you should not be mad when people will take your content and repost it.
Is it a form of being a whistleblower, like what Snowden and some of these guys said? Once I put the information out there, it's out there. But if I keep it to myself, they're going to come and take me out, right?
Yeah.
There's almost it's a lesser risk if you put it out there than to keep it to yourself. But financially, it's attractive to say, no, I'm not going to leak it to anybody else because, what if they steal my patent? What if they steal this? What if they steal that? Go back to zero-point energy.
Yeah.
Why, 0-point energy? There's many different things. Why is that so intriguing to you?
Well, when you look at the ancients and you see the flower of life symbol, the flower of life pattern.
By the way, would you like any tea or coffee, or you good?
I'll take a little drink, sip of water. Yeah, the flower of life, the flower of life pattern in ancient texts and ancient cultures is pretty interesting because inside of that pattern, I believe that pattern, in my opinion, is the face of God. The face of God potentially could be the flower of life. When you look at the flower of life and understand that it's
what is the flower of life?
Energy pattern. And when you access those interconnecting circles and the flower of life be the flower of life. When you look at the flower of life and understand that it's an energy pattern, and when you access those interconnecting circles and the flower of life and you take a look at them, you can fit 64 tetrahedrons inside the circle laid over top the interconnecting grid.
Tetrahedral?
Those 64 tetrahedron
Tetrahedral? It's like, no.
create a vortex or a connecting piece in the middle that is called a vector equilibrium. And within that vector equilibrium, you have an unlimited source of unparalleled energy. And that flower of life symbol, that energetic symbol, where the crosses of those circles meet, is called the Vesica Pisces. It's known as the womb of life. It's where all energy emanates into the third dimension to create the reality that we're seeing here. And so this symbol exists at every Planck unit in space-time that exists throughout the entire known universe. And it's the source of energy, and it's the source of the vibration for everything that exists in the known universe. And so that's why I say that, in my opinion, is the face of God.
This is like a secret weapon. It's Arcade by Output, one of the greatest plugins that I've ever used.
That's wild.
That, in your opinion, is the face of God.
No, that's wild.
Okay, so do you think the only reason why it's not
He made sure he said, in your opinion,
open to the rest of us is because of the industries it'll destroy, or do you think there's other reasons for it? I know we talked about
There's many reasons. Well, there's one reason is this is a source of unparalleled energy and power. If everyone knew how to tap into it, it could be dangerous. I would agree with that. If it's set up in a way where it can be harnessed and distributed,
right?
Like we do, look, nuclear energy is dangerous. It can blow up things, but we have nuclear power plants. Right? So the understanding how to utilize zero-point energy and then distributing the energy is something we're already doing with nuclear power plants. It's nothing outrageous to think that we couldn't do it. And understanding that, having empathy for people, not seeing yourself as above everyone, but trying to find a way, how do we bring everyone up? How do we give everyone an opportunity to be on the same playing field? How do we make everyone, give everyone a seat at the table?
not everybody will sit at the seat, though. Not everybody wants to sit at the table. What do we do with those people?
Give them energy so that they can raise their kids healthy, so they can have running water, so they can flush their toilets, so they can get access to things like medicines and so forth that they need, so they can have machines that have irrigation and so forth, so they can grow crops and so all these things are needed for humanity to thrive. The people at the top, it's a very small group of people, they in some way don't want to see everyone on the same playing field, or at least 1 or 2 levels beneath them. They'd rather keep them 10 levels beneath with a boot on their neck. And it's all about control, and it's all about power. It's all about domination. It's not about money, because money
even get your podcast canceled.
Be printed with zeros and ones that don't even exist. So we have to find a way to get through this, to take back control of this planet, to help humanity. I think that right now we're on a precipice.
He's trying to get you canceled, bro. Though
left, or we can go right,
brother. He's trying to get you canceled on your own podcast. It's Jose. Play, nigga.
We're really on the fence right now. And I think that I'm optimistic, though, that humanity will pull through, that we'll get through this age. I believe that we've really pretty much gotten through the nuclear age. We're at the tail end of it. But I think we have some more huge challenges to come. But we have to see that you and I are brothers, and every person on this planet are brothers and sisters, and stop falling for the divide and conquer tactics. Left wing, right wing, it's all the same bird.
It's working very effectively, though.
Yes, it is.
So let's go back to it. So, you think Trump said that because Trump wants the people to know that I can keep a secret. Okay. Some may say, well, the files you had at Mar-a-Lago, we don't know if you can keep secrets because you're going to want to brag about what you have. Anyways, that's a power play that sometimes you speak code. Mm-hmm. You may have today spoken to the other YouTuber that's maybe calling you out that none of us know about, but you're speaking code to him, and he knows what you just said that you called him out, right? That's what I mean when I say speaking code. Okay, so then who are the people that have access to these Secrecy Act of the 6,000 patents, or John F. Kennedy, or Area 51?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Another excellent question by Pat. Let's go.
These faceless people that we don't know about that have more power than the leader of the free world. Who are they?
We're talking about the elite oligarchs, less than 100 families.
Oligarchs. That's a new name. Oligarchs. Let's not forget that.
Control everything you hear, see, smell, touch, what you can say, what you can't say, where you can go, what invisible.
This nigga trying to the oligarchs. We've only heard of the Illuminati, the Masons. This nigga just said the oligarchs. We're not gonna act like that's normal.
Line on the planet you can cross, what invisible line you can't cross. Those are the people that dominate and control the banking systems around the entire.
More power than the leader of the free world. Who are they?
We're talking about the elite oligarchs, less than 100 families that control everything you hear, see, smell, touch, what you can say, what you can't say, where you can go, what invisible line on the planet you can cross, what invisible line you can't cross. Those are the people that dominate and control the banking systems around the entire planet. That one family is worth about $700 trillion. They control a lot of the pharmaceuticals, through the Rockefeller
Foundation. Did you say
Foundation.
700 trillion?
Yeah.
Who's the one family?
The Rothschilds are worth $700 trillion.
I don't even think there's that much currency in the world.
700 trillion? I ain't even hear the nigga say that.
Family.
He said it so regularly, none of us heard it.
Family's worth about $700 trillion. Line on the planet you can cross, what invisible line you can't cross. Those are the people that dominate and control the banking systems around the entire planet. That one family's worth about $700 trillion. They control
one family, fool?
Invisible line you can't cross. Those are the people that dominate and control the banking systems around the entire planet. That one family's worth about $700 trillion. They control a lot of the pharmaceuticals, through the Rockefeller Foundation.
Did you say 700 trillion?
Yeah.
Who's the one family?
The Rothschilds are worth $700 trillion.
Rothschilds.
I don't even think there's that much currency in the world. Can you type in Rothschild net worth?
Yeah. Type that in, brother.
When I'm listening.
It's the family's net worth combined. Okay. Yeah. So they control all the central banks along with their partner, Rockefeller. They have.
Rockefeller. We got to look into that Rockefeller, bro.
Rockefeller Foundation has access to a huge part of the pharmaceutical industry, and they've made a lot of money off of that. Now, I don't want to try to put those people down or say anything negative about them. It just is what it is. But there's people along the same level that they're at that also have these powers. The Council for Foreign Relations and all these different, these different groups that exist to.
In a sense, I've heard of that family before, fool.
Cultivate and create the rules and laws that they want to see executed on this planet. And the people on this planet being in full collusion with what they say. In other words, the governments are supposed to work for us. We are the people that are supposed to control the governments. And they flipped it and they have it where we have to listen to them and that they control us when it's supposed to be the opposite way around. When I go see a doctor or an attorney and they start talking things that I don't agree with, I say, hey, well, slow down. You work for me. I'm your boss. You see, this is the mentality you have to have.
Nigga, I would never say that to my doctor. I don't care how ruthless she's been. Nigga, she got my life in my hands, gang.
You're dealing with governments. You have to realize, wait a minute, you're a public servant. I'm your boss, and you're going to do what I tell you to do.
No.
You have to flip it.
No. Because you guys fuck around and give me this wrong. Just one pill can kill me.
Make your power play. You have to let them know, like, I'm in control here. I hear what you're saying, but this is what I'm going to do, or I don't agree with this situation. Look a little deeper over here, or don't do that because I said it. Not for you to influence me consistently into doing something that you want to see or get the outcome that you particularly want. And I think that we have to understand the power that we have.
Ooh, we've never seen anybody like this. Is dang near the civilized Andrew Tate. This is the civilized black version Andrew Tate. Literally.
And the ability we have to unify and organize and to become, a united front to get the outcome that we're looking for.
You don't think the Trump family's an oligarch yet to have that kind of power, that kind of money that these guys have? Meaning that he's on the inside to say, well, one of us is going to be running it, because they're definitely treating him like not one of us.
Yeah, no, I think it's higher than that.
Higher what than that?
Yeah.
You're talking even more money than Musk's got.
Yeah.
Musk's not even in that community is what you're saying.
No, I don't think so at all.
Heck no, brother. Did you hear what he said? He's still using combustion. He's not even using 0 point energy, bro.
big. These
And you think they know exactly what's in there? You think they're the ones that are sinners? So how do they, let's just say, let's play that up. And again, I don't know if Rothschild net worth is 700 trillion, because I don't think there's $700 trillion in circulation, but let's say that's the case. Let's go on that part. So, okay, how do you control
He called his day false.
the people that have access to those 6,000 patents? Man is pretty ambitious.
And it's not in currency, he said in the family.
Right? It's, when I one time sat down with Jonah Mendes, who was the former chief disguise officer of the CIA for 28-something years, I said, what
In the family combined.
for a great CIA agent? I'll never forget what she said.
Yeah.
She said a great CIA agent is someone that's very charming, charismatic, competitive, ambitious, driven, smart, brilliant, all of these things. However, when this CIA agent has access to information that could prevent the next World War III, and he knows he just prevented the next big war, he doesn't need to go brag about it to others, right? That's what she said makes for a great CIA agent. Yeah. Okay, how do these oligarchs, if you say those are the people, how do they hire the people in charge of these types of information, knowing, even though they have their own self-motivation and ambitions, don't leak it? How do they trust these people?
Well, there's a couple things. And first of all, in the 700,
Boy, leak it if you want to. Fool. If a nigga with 700 trillion tell you not to do something, he means it. For real. You will get your ass out of here in a heartbeat. Not even a quarter of a heartbeat.
that's combined assets. It's not just cash. It's assets, land, and everything else. But on the other question, how do they control people? Everything is compartmentalized. It's the oldest technique and tactic utilized in the military-industrial complex. To have so many moving pieces, you have to be a real mastermind, and they are, where you have people doing things and jobs and tasks that they don't even know how it connects to something else. They only know they're executing this one small task. And even with that, they have a secrecy agreement, or a gag order, or whatever type of NDA they sign. It lets them know if you violate this, these are the things that can happen to you. Most likely, a lot of those threats are most likely that you're violating a securities oath that's going to put you.
We gonna kill your family. I'm gonna take your cheeks. We gonna torture you. I'm gonna kill your mother. Those are the torture. That's what's on the paper.
Violation.
Okay. So what are you gonna do to me?
Yeah. Well, those people could be put in prison.
Oh, okay.
Imagine if you say
same thing as taking the cheeks.
If you leak this, it's a national security risk. All of a sudden, now we can lie. These people are tied into every aspect and every.
Okay, so let me ask you this: how many people you think know about the 6,000 patents? How many total people?
How many total people know
How
about
many
all the patents?
people do you think that are controlling and protecting that since it came out in 1951? So let's just say in the last.
Oh, the patents. Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot of people know now, but it's like the problem with humanity
Okay,
is.
how many people know about John F. Kennedy's assassination? How many people know about the aliens? How many people know about the inventions that they've hidden from us? 0-point energy. How many total people you think have access to all that?
Probably about thousands, maybe hundreds.
About John F. Kennedy's assassination. I have a very good idea who did it.
Well, I want to go to that here in a minute. But how many people you think have access to that information?
Right now, I think a lot of people, because it's been researched for so many decades.
You think all these 6,000 patents are all public that people know about it? All 6,000 of them?
They're not all 6,000, but people have been digging and digging and digging. Probably hundreds of people now have found information that's available, or links to information, or seen patents that got abandoned that they were then taken over by the government.
I guess what I'm asking is the people that you say, the oligarchs that say, hey, if you leak this, we're going to destroy your life. We're going to put you in jail. I mean, the Invention Secrecy Act says we're going to put you in jail if you do it. So it's like very straight up.
Yeah.
But is it fair to say the people that control that have the information, can we say there's 400 of them, 300 of them, 500 of them? Is
Yes,
that
fair enough. That's
okay.
fair enough, yeah.
Do you think a man is a noble man to know that could help a lot of the average day-to-day people? If he doesn't leak that information, do you call that noble? Or do you think a person that could whistleblow that to leak it to the...
We probably wouldn't even believe, dude, to be honest with you. Let's be 100. Niggas down here, we probably wouldn't even care.
open source it to the rest of the world would benefit from it. Some of these things could be cured to certain health challenges that we have today that, boom, with this one simple thing that we have, cancer is gone. XYZ is gone.
Right.
Do you think there's nobility in leaking it, or there's nobility in keeping it?
The future. The way you see it is said to depend on where you sit. At X-Chair, we think...
Well, it's a real tough question because if you have to be in that position. If I was in that position, I'd have to make a tough decision. Do I risk my life, or do I risk my future, my family, to leak this information to the general world and to general population, and give the chance for people to stop getting on chemotherapy because now we can really cure this cancer? It's a tough decision. I haven't been put in that position yet, so to be honest with you, I couldn't answer the question.
That's fair.
If I was in that position, then but I haven't been put in that position. It's a hell of a position to be in. I kind of wish I was.
You kind of wish you were.
Yeah.
Got it. So go back to John F. Kennedy, since you think you know what happened to John F. Kennedy. Is it any different than what we've heard? Is it a unique position, or is it?
I don't know if it's unique. I think that the mafia was involved with the CIA and the mafia, and I believe that the order for the kill was given by George Bush Sr., who happened to work at the CIA at the time, and I think the body was brought over by the mafia to the plane, and then they took it from there. I think that the ultimate order, came from George Bush Sr. That's my opinion.
His own father? Damn.
And that's based on what? Research on what you think, reading certain things?
Yeah, just researching the whole thing, understanding what securities risks that JFK had posed at the time with regards to aliens, Marilyn Monroe, and also, of course, wanting to change the economic system, wanted to get away from the fiat currency system. I think a combination of those things together put him in jeopardy.
And why Bush Sr.?
They said, get that boy up out of here, boy. He trying to change the world.
Well, he had the power. He was the head of the CIA at the time. He had the power to do it.
Have you read into the fact that when they asked him, where were you on the day of the assassination? I don't know where I was on that day.
Yeah.
Some people don't know where he was on that day. Have you followed that story?
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me when you think about that. By the way, so let me go to the next story.
Yeah.
Okay. So Eisenhower, the Greater Treaty. I don't know if you're familiar with the Greater Treaty, and Eisenhower, where
he definitely got killed by the mafia. There's too many eyewitnesses and too many rumors and stuff. He didn't get killed just because he was next in line for president. If that was the case, Barack Obama would have been up out of here. They killed Martin Luther King Jr., fool.
raised were the aggressive aliens, and they had negative motives, all this other stuff, and an article's written, Rob, if you can pull this up, by WAPO. I think this was written in February 20th, 1954. It says Ike and the Alien Ambassadors. That's the name of the article. There you go. So February 20th, 1954. Story comes out that Eisenhower, while he's on vacation, steps out. He says, no, I got to get away from this vacation here to have a meeting with the Greys, because apparently they wanted us to stop. There you go. The 50 years. Oh, that was written 50 years ago tomorrow. On February 20th, President Eisenhower interrupted his vacation in Palm Springs to make a secret trip to a nearby Air Force base to meet two extraterrestrial aliens, or maybe not. Maybe Ike was just going to the dentist. Yeah. There's some dispute about this. Anyways, and they said, hey, we want you to stop pursuing with the nuclear weapons. Give it to us. In return, we'll give you some advanced technology. Yeah. How much of this do you think is a myth? But this is WAPO writing about this. Right. How much do they think there's credibility behind it?
The only credibility I can come up with is what I heard from his own bloodline. And that would be his great-granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower, who I've been in many lectures and meetings with and done conferences with and been on panel discussions with. And she says that this information is 100% accurate and that she was told not to come out with this information, but she did, and to speak publicly about it, which she did, and they ostracized her from the family, even taking away her inheritance money. And I believe that because she was financially struggling severely at that time. And so I don't know how she's doing now. I haven't seen her in a couple.
Yeah, leak the truth, nigga.
Years. I have seen her online, but not in person in a couple of years. But I believe her wholeheartedly. And she had some other incredible stories to tell about the family as well that were pretty out there.
What were they?
Well, she said that they were, and I can say this because you know what? She said this on
Public.
Coast to Coast AM, so I can say it publicly. She said that they sent a handler to her years ago to talk about going to a breakaway civilization they had been creating on Mars. And she thought the guy was a love interest and really falling in love. And then she found out through some method or whatever that he was actually...
Yeah, nigga, snack break on that one, gang. Nigga, Mars is real, nigga. We trying to go to Mars on everything we love, nigga. We really going to Mars on them, man. And this nigga Billy is giving us the game. This nigga's exposing the industry. Yeah, snap break on him for it one time, nigga. You feel me? Yeah, nigga, you need a snack. You taking a lot of information in right now, Pat.
Just a handler. And tried to convince her to go with him to Mars. She said, no, I'm not going to go. They tried. They kind of fought over her trying to be there. And according to her, there were only specific bloodlines or specific people with particular interests and knowledge and so forth allowed to do this breakaway civilization. And she says that she decided not to go. But she said that they are creating a breakaway civilization on Mars. Now, the reason why I believe that is because, you know, a program that I created years ago called the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, we had been downloading images from NASA, the European Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, China, Russia, all the publicly available images from all the space probe data and rovers. And we had been finding a lot of anomalies, tons and tons of anomalies. And in these anomalies, these are out-of-place objects, things that shouldn't be where they are. And one of the most anomalies appear on Mars, to be honest with you. And so that led me to believe that she could be telling the truth. Maybe there is something going on up there. Maybe there was something going on up there. We know Ray Brandenburg wrote a book about the soil on Mars.
That nigga found a link, fool. This is real.
The REMS unit sent back data on the atmosphere and the soil, saying that there's xenon in the atmosphere, xenon in the soil, which means it wasn't any kind of xenon. It was weapons grade xenon. It was the byproduct of nuclear warfare. So something happened to Mars, and I think that there's a reconnaissance mission and maybe even a breakaway civilization there right now, and that the people that are traveling there in 2030 are just a front for what's really going on. There's something much deeper going on there, which is why probably it's a one-way trip. Every time you hear about these Mars trips, it's a one-way trip. They're not coming back.
Was she believable?
She was very believable, very, very believable.
Because I think she's an astrologer, if I'm not mistaken, you know, with what she did. But for me, for Eisenhower, for WAPO to write the story.
It's not about being believable, bro. Look at the evidence, fool.
About this, and, you know, you could say, I don't trust anything WAPO says, or you could say, well, maybe this did happen. And the story is out there for people to read, the fact that he had a meeting with them. It gives me okay, so let me ask the question a different way from you. Aliens, right? Story came out from Harvard. Rob, I don't know if you have the story or not, if you want to pull it up. Harvard researcher says aliens may already live on Earth. This came out last week, okay? This is from Newsweek, if you want to go a little lower.
This is recent. The truth is coming out, people. For real.
Zoom in a little bit, Rob. A study by Harvard social science researchers suggests that aliens may have been living on Earth for a while. The research paper, which is yet to be peer-reviewed, suggests that life forms from other worlds could be living underground on Earth or within the moon, and the UFOs and other unidentified anomalous phenomena may be evidence of them getting around. If you can go a little lower. The study suggests an unconventional explanation of UAP, with the authors of the paper hailing from Harvard University Human Flourishing Program. While researchers the factors that contribute to human well-being and flourishing, the paper has been taken out from ResearchGate since Newsweek published this article, but is still accessible using Internet Archive. That's kind of strange to take it down. What do you think about this?
It's pretty interesting. You know, I had Avi Loeb, the head of astrophysics at Harvard, on my podcast.
You had him as well,
Yeah, so
smart guy.
Smart, very intelligent guy. Incredible man. And, you know, obviously, he had a lot to say about Oumuamua being potentially an alien craft that would utilize the sun for gravitational assist, maybe even to get to deep space. And so I think there's a lot to it. I always go back to the ancient texts. When you go back to the Sumerian tablets, again, they talk about these beings talk about going to the moon. So
I can't wait till I start my podcast, bro. I'm gonna have like little PowerPoints, and we really gonna dive into this stuff, bro.
About the fact that they were going to go to the moon, and Enlil takes his son to the moon, and his son goes, "We must grab the eagle's mask."
They're going Lil again. They're going Lil.
They talk about these beings talk about going to the moon. So they talk about the fact that they were going to go to the moon, and Enlil takes his son to the moon, and his son goes, "We must grab the eagle's masks." And because the atmosphere is fair. So they're saying that there's something wrong with the atmosphere, which we know the moon has a very, very thin atmosphere. It doesn't have no atmosphere. It's extremely thin. So they put on their eagle's masks and they get into their sky ship and forebode. So they left and went to the moon. Now, if you take the black box audio, which is available from the Freedom of Information Act to the general public now from Apollo 11, you can actually hear Neil Armstrong say something very interesting as they're going over the moon surface in the limb. And he's saying, wow, look at those convex craters down there. That a convex mean now you're talking a dome structure. He's talking in code. He said, I bet the people down there never get out. And he wasn't joking and nobody laughed. And this is available for anyone to download. It's available to the general public. And
we're listening to that on the podcast, brother.
you can download the black box redacted audio printout as well from NASA.
The evidence, people, it's about the evidence. It's not about what he says. Forget him. It's the evidence.
It says the same thing, and they didn't redact those statements from that document, which is pretty interesting as well. So, he said that there were people down there that never got out. He wonders if they're ever going to get out. Now, if you look at a USGS.gov radar image of the moon, it had from the Arecibo, okay? Arecibo did a deep penetrating radar. There's a guy on YouTube called Mars Anomalies, and he did a great video utilizing that imagery from the USGS.gov. It penetrates 30 meters beneath the moon's surface. It looks like giant beams are there, which is pretty crazy. So, did a great video utilizing that imagery from the USGS.gov. It penetrates 30 meters beneath the moon's surface. It looks like giant beams are there, which is pretty crazy.
Beams or beams?
So, it's just like, what's going on? We don't really know. We just know that they said the moon rung like a bell for hours when they hit it. We know that it's in a very strange orbit on its axis. It's geo-locked with Earth's spin on its own axis. And it's talked about in ancient texts that people went there. And then we have Neil Armstrong saying he thinks people down there never get out. Is it all coincidence? Possible, but it's pretty interesting.
To me is basically
coincidence.
freedom. It's a giant open universe where.
So, aliens living here. Greer even talks about that, right? He even talks about that, the fact that, is it internally? Have they been here? Have they found a way to, coexist amongst us? And we don't even know. This kind of goes back to you talking about the fact that, if being born without a father in the womb, hey, if I wanted to do this, there's a lot of ways that somebody could, spin this to convince that they're already down here. That's believable. One may sit there and say, this sounds pretty convincing. How much proof do we have that, there's been...
You ain't even look at the black box he just said.
Instances or stories, other stories to say, no, there is no disputing this. That is 100%. They're down here.
Well, you just have to go again to our ancestors, because they talk about these beings walking amongst them, living amongst them. They drew pictures of them on petroglyphs, in caves, in tablets, and texts, and cylinder scrolls, and papyruses, and in scriptures. So we know the descriptions. We know what they look like. We have statues all over the world. We understand that people were here that were humanoid, but not exactly human, that engaged mankind, which they shouldn't have, because according to these same people in the text, they say, the creator of all will punish us for what we did here. So they even knew that they were wrong, and there was somebody even higher than them. Why would somebody say something like that?
Oh, shoot. Listen to what he's saying, bro. Bro, this is so fire.
Same people in the text, they say, the creator of all will punish us for what we did here. So they even knew that they were wrong, and there was somebody even higher than them. Why would somebody say something like that? I mean, to write cuneiform is a very strenuous process, to take a wooden stick and turn it into a stylus and then make a wedge in wet clay and sit there and make all these crazy lines for thousands of hours. Strenuous process to take.
You got to grasp what this guy is saying, man.
A wooden stick and turn it into a stylus.
Go back, brother. Go back. Go back.
instances or stories, other stories, to say, no, there is no disputing this. That is 100%. You know, they're down.
If the evidence is here, stop acting stupid.
Here.
Well, you just have to go again to our ancestors, because they talk about these beings walking amongst them, living amongst them. They drew pictures of them on petroglyphs, in caves, in tablets, and texts, and cylinder scrolls, and papyrus.
How much evidence do you need, bro?
Scriptures. So we know the descriptions. We know what they look like. We have statues all over the world. We understand that people were here that were humanoid, but not exactly human, that engaged mankind, which they shouldn't have, because according to these same people in the text, they say, the creator of all will punish us for what we did here. So they even knew that they were wrong, and there was somebody even higher than them. Why would somebody say something like that? I mean, to write cuneiform is a very strenuous process, to take a wooden stick and turn it into a stylus and then make a wedge in wet clay and sit there and make all these crazy lines for thousands of hours, potentially, to come up with these sci-fi stories when it's time to go out there and hunt and gather. I don't think so. I think these people wrote down exactly what they saw and what they knew. All the megalithics.
Don't think too hard. Look at the evidence.
Around the world are nothing more than just more evidence for us.
Such as?
Well, you have the Great Pyramid at Giza. Okay, the Great Pyramid at Giza, just look at the Great Pyramid first of all. The Great Pyramid is exactly.
This is his slogan right here. He's told people this hundreds of times.
The height of all of the average height of all of the peaks on Earth. So if you had a polar orbiting satellite that orbited the planet this way, and as the planet, spin on this axis, it can scan the planet, calculate how many peaks there are, take the average height of those peaks. That's the height of the Great Pyramid. And that's incredible.
Wow.
Now, you then look at the Great Pyramid and you go, man, this is really wild. If you look at the Great Pyramid, the Giza Plateau, looking down, you discover that the three pyramids and the temples surrounding in that area, you can connect them by lines. And when you connect them by lines in a grid pattern and then draw circles, concentric circles that line up with all those ancient sites, you then see a pattern. You can see it's an interplanetary map of our inner solar system, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. If you take the NASA image, all right, of the interplanetary solar system and lay it over that grid, it matches perfectly down to the AU, the astronomical unit, if you scale it up. Now, that's wild. How can that possibly even happen? The latitude of the...
No, this is scary. It seems like this is too much information, bro. I'm gonna bring all this stuff to the podcast, bro. We gonna break this stuff down because we've been duped. All this believing in whatever we've been told to believe in is being crushed day by day as we speak. The light is shining, boy. And I'm going to bring it to the podcast. I'm going to be another light in this bit.
Gallery inside the Great Pyramid are the exact same digits of the speed of light in meters per second. Then go across the world to Mesoamerica, which is now Mexico, to Teotihuacan. That complex is built with the same exact alignment with the Orion system as the Great Pyramid and the other two pyramids in Giza, but also the Pyramid of the Sun is exactly 50% the height of the Great Pyramid and identical to the same size as the base. Same architect, same blueprint, different location.
What do you have to say?
I think that is.
Well, both. The Atlantean, he called himself the Atlantean priest king. He calls himself the son of Atlantis. See, these Anunnaki people, they were the ones who built the Atlantean civilization. He started having problems with his brother Marduk. Marduk is in the Torah. He's in the Bible. He's in ancient Sumerian cuneiform tablets. He's also known to the Egyptians as Amun-Ra, okay? And they started having a battle because Amun-Ra, a.k.a. Marduk, wanted to take over kingship early ahead of his processional period. And it was a big battle going on. He started two wars. He started a pyramid war to take over early, and he started a pyramid war to keep his reign even going longer. But their father, Ea Enki, said, listen, though, go to the other side. Go over there to Mesoamerica. Let me deal with him. Go start a civilization over there. So he left, and he took Olmecs with him from Africa, and he started the Teotihuacan civilization. He built that long before the Mayans. The Mayans inherited what was already there, and you can learn that from
Go back, bro.
war to keep to.
This is forbidden knowledge. We gotta make sure it is. We gotta get this right. I don't care if y'all leave it or not, nigga.
Over early, and he started a pyramid war to keep his reign even going longer. But their father, Ea Enki, said, listen, though, go to the other side. Go over there to Mesoamerica. Let me deal with him. Go start a civilization over there. So he left, and he took Olmecs with him from Africa, and he started the Teotihuacan civilization. He built that long before the Mayans. The Mayans inherited what was already there, and you can learn that from homegrown archaeologists in Mexico. They will tell you that the Mayans built absolutely nothing. The Aztecs came hundreds of years later when a volcano erupted in their valley, destroyed their community. They stumbled across Teotihuacan as well, and they also inherited the pyramids going all the way down into the Yucatan Peninsula. And so this was built by a previous culture, and the Mayans are the ones who named them Teotihuacans. Now, what does Teotihuacan means? The city of Tahuti. Who is Tahuti? Though it's known as Tahuti in other parts of Africa, it's the same architect, the same man.
Thoth.
I want to buy
Who the
your
hell
house.
is Thoth?
I can pay you cash for your house, no matter what condition.
It crushes everything you've believed in, don't it? That was my face. Crushes you.
Interesting when you were sitting here going through all this stuff. So Assyrians, for you, he was the god of Babylon, right? Marduk.
Marduk, yeah.
So what do you know about Assyrians? You said you studied Assyrians.
Assyrian and Babylonians?
Yeah, what do you know about Assyrians and Babylonians?
Well, the Assyrians are the people that learned a lot from these people like Marduk and Sargon and Etana.
I was about to go look up Marduk, god of Babylon, Marduk, Sumerian.
Enki and Lil, Ningajita, and all these other Babylonians.
Yeah, what do you know about Assyrians and Babylonians?
Well, the Assyrians are the people that learned a lot from these people like Marduk and Sargon and Etana, Enki and Lil, Ningajita, and all these other Nergal and all these other ancient Sumerian gods. They call them the pantheon. They said the gods that came from heaven to earth, they were a pantheon, the original pantheon, long before the Greek pantheon. And that they taught them how to make weapons, how to make beer. The instructions for the first keg of beer are in the Sumerian tablets. They taught them how to build better structures, how to irrigate fields for growing crops in arid deserts. They actually, in the tablets, talk about clearing out the Euphrates and the Tigris to make it better for irrigation. All these technologies, they even have a Sumerian tablet giving to the Assyrians, showing them how to take the plow and how to utilize the plow. All this is handed down knowledge from other people.
Wow. Crazy,
You
bro.
said from Babylonians?
Babylonians and Assyrians got knowledge from these people.
You think about it. In the Bible, God destroyed Babylon. But before he destroyed Babylon, before he destroyed Babylon, people could speak the same language. So that means that, hold on, what does nigga say again?
All this is handed down knowledge from other people.
If you saying from Babylonians?
Babylonians and Assyrians got knowledge from these people.
Right. So how did they build that tower going all the way to the sky, fool? Who told them how to do that? They didn't just figure that out, bro. I'm on to something.
The Dogon tribe called them the Nomo. And it's interesting that the Dogon have a similar representation of these people, but they're all the way in Africa, and they say that they came from Sirius B. Now we know that there's a trinary star system called Sirius A, B, and C. Sirius B is a failed star. It ran out of fuel. It turned into a white dwarf, just like our sun will in 5 billion years, right? We have a middle-aged sun. Now, we can't see Sirius B with the naked eye, but they knew it was there. Not only did they know it was there, but they also knew the orbital period. They knew the trinary orbiting, how those stars orbited each other. And for thousands of years, they handed down this knowledge. They even knew from the Nomo.
Sirius B, also known as the Pup Star, is one of the most massive white dwarfs known.
The sizes, the shapes, and even the colors of the planets inside of our own solar system long before any astronomers ever figured it out. And that's why the Dogon tribe is a huge anomaly. They used to rule over the land of Kemet before it was called Egypt, and they were overthrown and they ended up moving out to Mali, Africa, where they still hold the same traditions till this very day. No police, no military, no prisons, just knowledge.
Did you know that in Texas, rifles can be carried in public without a license, whereas in Florida, no open carrying is allowed?
Just knowledge. Okay. When we sit here and we, the average person's listening to you, it's like, okay, we've gone to 50 different places together, right? We've talked about a little bit of faith, Jesus, Old Testament, not a lot of New Testament. You talked a lot about Old Testament, the devil, Satan, a little bit of politics, Trump, Invasion Secrecy Act, Assyria.
Hey, you got a good memory, bro.
Babylonians. We've gone all over the place, right, with topics that we've had. If you have all this information yourself in your head, I think you tweeted one time saying, I've had the honor of raising 6 children, right? I think you said that.
Yeah.
6 kids, right? I'm assuming your kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does any of this information you have in your mind, does it create anxiety or a peace of mind for you?
That's a good question. So in the beginning, I think everyone goes through these stages. There's a beginning stage where it's almost like an epiphany moment where you go down the rabbit hole and you start finding out all this information that you've been told is not accurate, and you want to find out more about what might be accurate. So this is
that's me right now. Swear to God.
Nature that takes you over, and you become obsessed with gaining more information and more research. And then once you culminate a certain amount of knowledge, you go through something I made up a word called catastrophism. You go through the catastrophism phase where you're panicking, you have anxiety, and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy, and the world's going to end, and everything sucks, and everything's stupid, and we're being poisoned, and we're going to be killed. And then you move.
No. I'm at that point.
That catastrophism phase. Not everybody does, but some people do. I did, thankfully. I moved through that phase, a long time ago. And then you get into the problem solution phase. Okay, now how do I become part of the solution? We got the problem. How do we create a solution? Well, for me, the main reason why I've dabbled into so much of an array of information and knowledge across spanning all different areas of genres is because I understand that without knowledge, and specifically without knowledge of the past, the proper knowledge of the past, we can't have the right future.
That's bingo right there.
Not create a future on this planet that doesn't go back into this same cycle of rise and fall of civilization unless we truly understand and know exactly what happened to us. If you take a kid and that kid goes out and it doesn't have the ability to detect electric shock, it doesn't know that if it sticks its finger inside the electric socket, it's going to kill itself. So it does it over and over and over again until it electrifies itself and dies. Mm-hmm. We're that baby. So we're living in this cycle. It's called the Kali Yuga, right? It's this cycle of rise and fall of civilizations. It's called the Great Year in ancient texts. And we are now in what they call the Silver Age, the bottom left of the circle headed back towards another golden age. And we can achieve this golden age. We can get there in a few thousand years. But it's going to take knowledge, understanding, empathy. It's going to take the ability for people to put down divide and conquer tactics. And it's going to take the ability for people to overcome everything with love. And also the knowledge of what we did wrong to overcome doing that again in the future.
What is our biggest threat? Is it ourselves? Is it nuclear? Is it AI? Is it quantum, computing? What is the biggest threat that we have?
Lack of knowledge. My people die for a lack of knowledge. It says that in the Bible. My people die for a lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge is what's killing us, because lack of knowledge leads to fear, fear leads to anger, and anger leads to destruction.
Knowledge leads.
I never heard that before. I can feel that.
Fear leads to anger, Anger leads to destruction.
I gotta be careful knowing this stuff, bro.
But knowledge leads to fear, or a lack of knowledge leads to fear?
lack of knowledge.
The lack of knowledge leads to fear.
I gotta be careful knowing
fear
this
leads
stuff.
to the anger. Anger leads to destruction.
Correct.
Interesting. So you're not, you know, the level of advancement right now we're hearing about, you know, quantum programming, quantum computers, all this stuff. And it's not even, what do you call it, where we don't have access to it yet, right? It's not like we have it. And God knows what's going to happen when that takes place.
Right.
You know, how much are things going to change the next, you're saying thousands.
Dude, look how much things are changing, and we only have AI, bro.
Years, you know, in the next couple thousand years, we can really figure this out. There's some people right now that are absolutely worried about the fact that Elon Musk, just the other day, Rob, if you have the clip of him talking about robots, that you can now buy the robots. I don't know if you have that or not.
Optimus?
Yeah, did you see that where he's talking about the robots? I think it's somewhere there when Musk shows, and I think he's even tweeting, he's even talking about it. That's the one. Can you play this clip? Go for it.
If you're a web designer, here are 4 Wix Studio features you gotta know.
I think everyone in the world is going to want one, like literally everyone. And then there'll be obviously robots in industry, making stuff, and
that nigga moving like he's the robot, nigga.
So I mean, I think the ratio of humanoid robots to humans will probably be at least 2 to 1, something like that. 1 to 1 for sure. So which means like somewhere on the order of 10 billion humanoid robots. Maybe 20 or 30.
What?
And
he thinks Tesla's going to have 10
billion. What did he say?
Which means like somewhere on the order of 10 billion humanoid robots. Maybe 20 or 30.
What the?
And he thinks Tesla's going to have 10%.
Okay, well, let's say, you know, you kind of make. Let's say the build rate is. I think the build rate will be probably something ultimately like 1 billion a year, humanoid robots. Like actually. And if Tesla just has a 10% share of that, and it might be a lot more than 10%, and there's, you know, we make like 100 million Optimus units a year. I mean, for reference, the auto industry is roughly 100 million vehicles per year. So that, you know, sort of similar ballpark, at least within an order of magnitude. And I think we could make...
Bro, I can't even, bro. It sounds like you scared to talk about your own invention, bro. This is bad.
For a cost of maybe, at really high scale, of about $10,000. It's smaller, it'd be less expensive than a car. So, and I think if you sell for $20,000 or something, this is at large scale, volume, Tesla would basically make about $1 trillion of profit a year from that.
Wow, bro.
So,
a trillionaire.
Yeah.
A trillionaire, bro.
That's what's going to save his company.
That's what's going to save his company.
Yeah.
Meaning, without that, do you think Tesla's in bad shape?
EVs aren't the future.
Why not?
The infrastructure isn't there. It's not going to be there. The batteries are mostly mined from forced child labor in Africa. Imagine some rebels taking over some of these mines and taking control of these mines in Africa and holding the world hostage. It's just so much that can go wrong with that. It's really on a clock. It's really on a time clock. It's a ticking time bomb. And then, you know, when they're used up, they're more toxic for the environment than a standard block engine. And then, you know, the time frames it takes to charge them is outrageous. It's a security risk for women and men, but mostly for women as well. A lot of theft occurs around these things. I just think that the future definitely is hydrogen.
Imagine sitting out in your decked out Tesla, nigga. No portable charger. You just sitting there at the gas station for 2 hours. Get robbed.
Solid state hydrogen fuel cells set to recharge in 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops. You know, the military has ships now that run on hydrogen. They're able to extract the water from the sea and take out the hydrogen through electrolysis, push that into a combustion chamber and use that for energy. Rolls-Royce is huge. That's why I've been investing huge in Rolls-Royce, because they have the Rolls-Royce jet engine now, which flies. They just flew one successfully. And so their stock is doing very well, Rolls-Royce, because they're into hydrogen. My electric company here, yours too, FP&L, what are they powering us with right now? These lights are run by hydrogen right now, FP&L, Florida Power and Light, the electric company for the state of Florida. So hydrogen is the future. It's a clean burning energy source. The only side effect of the emission is steam, clean steam. And that's where things are going to go. And I think that we're going to get back towards hydrogen. The GM president, CEO, either one of the two, the woman that runs GM, she said we're getting away from the EVs. We're going to move everything to hydrogen. So that's where the future is going to stand. I think that if he doesn't come out with an H model, I think Tesla's going to suffer. A lot of people are having some major issues with the with the cars. But this optimist is going to save his company. He's going to make him a multi-trillionaire.
Does that at all worry you about us having robots? Or, you see a society in the near future where we're walking in a mall and in the streets where robots are walking right next to us and we're just kind of like, it's just a car. It's not a big deal.
Right. I think that is definitely the future. I think that we as people have to find out how do we have some input on the way that the interface works. In other words, AI is going to take on the consciousness of the programmer. Now, if the programmer is not conscious, in other words, a programmer doesn't have a high level of thinking, empathy, if a program is racist, if the program is heavily in politics, if the programmer is prejudiced towards this or that idea or concept, that's going to end up inside of the program, the code, right? How do we put together some type of a plan or a process? I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing right now that we, the people, or some government authority looks over these things and to make sure that these inadequacies of human nature are not inside of these robots. There have to be some type of oversight, I think. I don't think you could just unleash them on the world with no oversight, but there needs to be something put in place. And then we have to also think about, is there ever going to be a robot Bill of Rights? Because are these things going to be so sentient that eventually they're going to say,
we can't even get the regular presidential right.
You guys are pushing me around. You're abusing me. I'm being overworked. Eventually, in the future, there could be a need for a robotic Bill of Rights. All these things are going to come out, eventually in the future. Hopefully, eventually, I'm pretty optimistic that we'll find the right way. That we'll overcome all of these issues as mankind will rise up, and somehow we'll do what's right. I have to be optimistic. I can't think negative. But it's going to be a process, and we will see some situations where, like, humankind is like a baby. A baby takes a few steps and it falls. Well, we can't panic because we know the baby's going to pull itself back up and take a few more steps and maybe take 5 or 6 steps then, but it'll fall one more time until it learns how to do what walking is, learn how to control your fall. The definition of walking is a controlled fall.
The definition of walking is controlled fall. I love all this stuff you're saying, man. It's interesting listening to you, but I got a few things before we wrap up.
Okay.
So, do you think we're going to make it to the next 100 years or 1,000 years? Yuval Harari, who wrote the book Sapiens, and he is the guy next in line to be the guy running World Economic Forum, with Klaus Schwab. They call him the brains of Klaus Schwab. He's got a lot of interesting things to say, but he calls human beings useful eaters, useless eaters or useless class.
Yeah.
Do you think there will come a time where human beings will be useless?
No. And the reason why is because people like myself and you and others are fighting for humanity. See, one thing about the light and the darkness, light always wins. See, right now we're in a pretty well-lit room, right? If you shut these lights off, all I have to do is turn my camera phone on and the darkness will flee from that light. But I can't inject any darkness into this room and I have to make this room go dim. I can't inject darkness, but I can turn on a light and make darkness flee. And so I think that as a metaphor, I think that light always wins. And I think that, the work that I'm doing has a purpose. And many other thousands and now even probably tens of thousands like myself working to get mankind to see, hey, we need to take a look at ourselves. We need to go to inner space. We have to deprogram and reprogram ourselves. We have to learn how to love ourselves and forgive ourselves because nobody's coming to forgive you and nobody's coming to save you. We were sent here to save ourselves. And when we come to that realization and begin to see each other as everyone else as our brother and sister and love and empathy, then this world is going to change. And I believe that's going to happen because I believe there's enough people fighting. I believe that over time, there's going to be more and more. I've seen this thing go from me hiding in the bushes in the 70s, talking to two friends about what I saw in the sky, to going to, trading VHS tapes, to trading cassette tapes on things that are going on, to trading DVDs, to CDs, to forums, blogs. Now I'm on over 100 TV shows. I'm on the History Channel, the Travel Channel, the Science Channel. I'm on the Discovery Channel, Discovery Plus. I got my own TV network now. I'm on Gaia TV. I'm on everything. And I'm on your podcast now talking about these incredible topics that I couldn't talk about in the 70s.
That's crazy.
The time is now. We are the people. This is the era. And we're going to change a lot of minds in the next 10 to 15 years. A lot of people are going to wake up.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, robots, they can work 24 hours a day. You and I, 8 hours, average person, hard worker, 12 to 14, killers, maybe 16, 18 hours and get 4 to 6 hours of sleep. But a robot can go 24/7 nonstop. And Neuralink, if Elon said to you, hey, Billy, you're a smart guy, you got photographic memory, you seem to, when you read information, you keep it pretty well. Yeah. But I think I can take it to another level. If we put this Neuralink in, you'll know everything about everything. Would you say yes to it?
The Neuralink, I probably wouldn't do. Oh, hold on. 1 second. Neuralink, I probably wouldn't do just because it's going to directly affect my mind. So I like the way my mind works right now. Now, if I had a deficiency that I could detect or somebody told me, look, you're deficient in this area, maybe I'll do it. But because my mind is working the way I like it, that's why I never tried ayahuasca, mushrooms, or nothing else, weed or anything, because I like the way my brain works.
So you wouldn't entertain it?
No, not at all.
Pat, you all in or something, bro?
You thought about it a little bit, though. You thought about it a little bit.
Oh, you got to think about it because it gives you the ability to masquerade as a god. It gives you a lot of power. Now, I think it's useful for a lot of people. There are millions, maybe even billions of people that can utilize that technology right now today. People that are suffering from disabilities that need that technology right now. People that can access and turn on their appliances at home if they have limited ability to use their limbs. There's so many applications for it. It's mind-blowing. Now, there is another device I would use. An MIT student invented one that sits on the bone of the back of your ear, and it transmits information directly into your mind from your bone, and it's connected to the internet. So somebody can ask you a question. You can ask it the question silently with your own thoughts, and then it will go search and query Google or AI for your answer and give it back to you through the bone. Now, that's something that doesn't directly interface with my mind. But my mind at this particular moment in time is working and functioning at a very high level.
I need that.
So you don't want to touch it?
I don't want to touch it. That's why people say, how come you won't try this? How come you won't do that? I don't want to affect my file cabinet.
I get it. I mean, I guess the way it's kind of like, why take steroids if your body's producing a good amount of testosterone right now? Why feed it right now? But maybe in your 50s, 60s, 70s, if it's not, your testosterone drops below a certain level where it's actually not good for you, your joints, you're always in pain. Maybe you ought to consider it. That's kind of your process very logically in a reasonable way. Very interesting. Yeah. Last thing, why was Hitler, why were the Nazis so obsessed with Antarctica? Yeah. Why is it that they send this ship, what is it called? MS Schwabenland, and they go out there and just absolutely curious. This is right after the pre or after the World War. Yeah. And then he goes out there and all of a sudden it gets so, everybody's talking about it to the point where U.S. sends 4,700 of our folks to go there to investigate, see what's going on. What was the obsession with Antarctica?
Well, Hitler had been looking into ancient documents, ancient texts, tablets, stones, scrolls, papyruses from all around the world long before that happened. He had been sending his troops all around the world, even to Tibet, to talk to these wisdom keepers and sages about ancient knowledge of advanced technology. He already knew that there was an advanced civilization on Earth long before we got here. And he wanted to tap into that so that he can use that to reverse engineer it to take over the world. He was successful in creating a couple of Haunebu craft. He created Haunebu 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these were circular flying craft that had gun turrets on them. Haunebu.
We've been duped.
Right? H-A-U-N, Haunebu. Right? There goes one right there. They flew the first one in 1936. So you see, this is a long time ago.
We've been duped.
And there's actually an image, an old image that was put up online of one of these Haunebu on a test flight. It only made a quick hop, but it got off the ground. And also, you know, they discovered that down here in Antarctica, there was an area there that supposedly some of these ancient people, that's an American one right there. All right, we created that one. But they found out that there's a hole inside of Antarctica, about a 30-meter wide opening, and that there were people there, these Aryan people, okay? So the whole thing behind the Aryan race thing wasn't about blonde hair and blue eyes specifically with him, because he didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. It was these people that were down there that did, and he wanted to access their knowledge because they had access to advanced technology according to what I researched. That's the Diglocka. The Diglocka was one of the machines he built based on this ancient text that was able to warp space and time. It was almost like a time machine. And this thing, when activated inside of what they call a henge, it actually disappeared, and nobody knows where it went.
Wow.
Okay, crazy stuff.
No, that's
But,
wow.
you know, this technology he was working on, man, because he said that these people down in Antarctica had this knowledge. And he went down there to meet these people, supposedly. And much later, you know, the U.S. sent troops down there, and they sent people down there. And one of the statements that came back from the general that went down there was that we have a new enemy, one that could fly from pole to pole with incredible speed. And he wasn't talking about the Nazis. He was talking about something else.
Why are we, I think right now only about 70 people, I don't know how many people live there right now.
Yeah.
Why isn't anybody interested today? Why is it such a smaller number today?
Well, there's a treaty. There's a peace treaty, number one. There are research bases in the same exact area where the Nazis...
I'm sorry, 4,000 people there. Yeah. 66 scientific bases in Antarctica, about 37 are occupied year-round, 4,000 people through summer, and 1,000 over the winter.
Yeah. Those bases are research bases from all the countries on Earth. It's an area where there's no war allowed, even though there's security, there's armed security. A guy on my TV network named Brad Olson, he actually went down there and was granted access to the land in Antarctica. I have this on my TV network. It's called The Secrets of Antarctica. We have the footage and everything. Now, there's this base down there. These bases are researching something. See, Secrets of Antarctica, Brad Olson.
Wow.
And they're researching technology down there or something down there. They're all down there. Even the Rockefeller Foundation has a research base down there too. Now, when Buzz Aldrin went down there a few years ago, he went to meet with whoever they were meeting with, and he didn't like what he heard and saw, and he tweeted something that was very scary. He said, "We're facing the ultimate evil." And then he was whisked out of Antarctica, and the tweet was deleted later, but it had been already screenshot by a lot of people. Okay? A lot of people had already screenshotted it. And they said, oh, he has the flu. He doesn't know what he's talking about. There's something.
We are all in danger. It is evil itself. It is evil itself.
Going on down there for this man to make a tweet like that. And then they hushed him up.
Was it really from his account?
It was from his account. They hushed him up and they whisked him away. He deleted it maybe a day or two later or whatever it was, but it was too late. Everybody had already screenshot the tweet.
Are you joking?
No, I'm dead serious. Yeah, you can look it up.
Look at the face. This is what true evidence looks like when you get smacked with it, nigga. He's not just talking, bro. This is real concrete evidence. This is real life.
It's serious.
What?
Yeah.
Look at his face. That's the face of this is the truth.
Maybe a day or two later or whatever it was, but it was too late. Everybody had already screenshot the tweet.
Are you joking?
No, I'm dead serious. Yeah, you can look it up. Dead serious.
That's the face of this is the truth.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
What do you think it was?
I think maybe they made contact with these people. I had a meeting with Major Ed Dames. Major Ed Dames, Project Stargate.
What did I say? We're ready to go to Antarctica. Maybe our last opportunity to tweet.
A meeting with Major Ed Dames. Major Ed Dames, Project Stargate. Look it up. I had private classes with him on remote viewing. And in this second meeting that I met with him in Orlando, Florida, he told me that there are people still down there. And he said these people have the ability to come and go at will, and we can't stop them. That was his exact quote to me.
These people are not people. These people are aliens, I'm assuming. Right? Yeah, so that's what he was referencing.
Yeah.
Do you think we did land on the moon?
Yeah, I think we landed on the moon, and yes, we lied about it. The moon mission was a reconnaissance mission to go there and find out what the hell was up there, because we sent missions to the moon to orbit it prior to going to land on it, which is just standard procedure. And we discovered that there are, I think, a lot of anomalies, things that shouldn't be up there. And so I think the moon mission was a mission to go there, show the world a desolate, dry place, but in actuality, pick up some of this stuff and bring it back so we can find out what the heck it is. I researched the Clementine mission, and as soon as I heard Clementine, I knew it never came back. Oh, my darling Clementine, you were lost and gone forever. That was a top secret military satellite that went up there that's finally declassified. And in the Clementine mission images, which you can download over 2 or 3 gigs of, the dark side of the moon images are there. And in these images are things that shouldn't be there, anomalies, weird looking things that don't appear to be natural rock formations. Let me put it that way. And the mission never came back. It hit something and it collapsed up there, or it hit something and crashed right there on the dark side of the moon. I think they knew it was going to hit something. I think they hit it on purpose. But there's something really going on. If you know about the one mission with the Apollo, what got to the backside of the moon, they lost their comms. That's pretty standard because you have the moon blocking you from Earth, from Houston. But something hacked into their comms and they all went crazy. And that's also on the audio, the black box audio that anyone can listen to. They went crazy. Who's in our comms? What is this noise? You hear it? You hear it? It's like music. I hear it. They were panicking because something hacked into their comms when they got to the other side of the moon. There's a lot going on out here. We're just not being given all the facts.
Man, it is very, very interesting to listen to you. I got to tell you this, very, very interesting to listen to you. And
that's the truth,
more
bro.
importantly, to see the amount of interest you have in all these topics. When is your birthday, by the way? What month is your birthday?
September 4th.
September 4th. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Pleasure having you on. We're going to put the link below to the book. Okay. Rob, make sure to put that below. Emerald Tablets. I can go on for a couple more hours talking to you, but I'm fascinated by you. Appreciate you once again for coming on, man. Absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Alrighty, man. That's going to wrap the interview. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe on the video. And let me know what y'all want to see in the future, man. We're going to keep sitting here making videos all 2024, man. Just did an hour, 30-minute session, man. These niggas ain't working like me, bro. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? We out.